Hi all, this is Simona Rich, and in this video I'm going to describe Virgo-rising character and appearance. And this is not a sun sign Virgo description, but the ascendant Virgo. Also, it's a description of a pure rising Virgo. The presence of planets on the ascendant and a heavy emphasis on other signs will modify this description. The intellect of Virgo rising persons is not as restless as that of Gemini, but it's more earthy, therefore more pessimistic. After all, Virgo is an earth sign. It's told that the negative side of Mercury operates through this sign. Its true ruler is told to be the planet Vulcan rather than Mercury, which is the god of work. But because of its close proximity to the sun, it's not discovered yet. Also, Vulcan is told to be the god of fire too, which makes sense because of this planet's proximity to the sun. Like we have seen in the Cancer ascendant, Virgo ascendant is also known by two different types. One is earthy and another mercurial. The earthy type is of a bigger size, the skull is broad and the nostrils wide. The skull may look big in comparison to the rest of the body. The eyes are small, but their appearance is clear. The undeveloped type of Virgo rising person's eyes could be cunning in appearance. The mouth is usually small with thin lips. The body usually has some irregularities about it, so the figure doesn't strike as harmonious. There could be some unusual characteristic about the body, such as it being too small or too big. The hair is usually curly or wavy and stands up from the forehead. Brooke Shields is a Virgo rising, and she represents the earthy type of Virgo with a skull to the wider side, wide nostrils, and small eyes. Franklin D. Roosevelt is another earthy Virgo type, as seen from the large skull, especially in his case. You can definitely see that the skull looks large and it stands out from the rest of the body, and he has small eyes and wide nostrils. Nicolas Sarkozy, I don't know if I pronounce his surname right, the past president of France, has pure Virgo rising without any planets to alter the look. He has a broad forehead, small eyes, and thin lips. The mercurial type of Virgo is very different, with a body well proportioned. So this is the second type of Virgo rising persons, and they are different. The body is well proportioned and quite small. Such a person is very active, and the hair is often light brown, eyes hazel or gray, sometimes blue. The nose is small and straight, but still with quite wide nostrils. Such Virgo rising persons usually have pointed or small chins. Virgo, like Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces, is a weak ascendant. These are considered weak ascendants. Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, and Pisces, meaning that this kind of ascendant gives a weaker body than other signs and therefore a greater susceptibility to disease. And especially Virgo rising people, if they are afraid to get sick, and if they do, it may be difficult for them to get well, but usually their diseases are imaginary. Keanu Reeves has a broad forehead, thin lips, small eyes, and a chin more pointy than square, which are Mercury type Virgo rising traits. However, he's very tall, and that's because his ascendant conjuncts Uranus. His birth time is not 100% confirmed, but it's highly likely that it's correct. Young Steve Jobs. another good representation of a mercurial type of Virgo rising, especially due to the shape of the face and his lips. He is very tall though, which I think was caused by Uranus in conjunction with Jupiter aspecting his ascendant. Virgo rising persons usually remain slender till their old age. They aren't likely to ruin their health with overindulgences unless they are the types that worry far too much and try to escape from that through food. But then again, it's not because they want to experience sense pleasures, but because they perceive eating as a way to divert their minds from worrying. If some disease gets hold of them, they may feel helpless to change that, so it's best for them not to get sick at all. Also, sometimes they worry that they have diseases when it's not the case. So they may be the people frequently visiting doctors, complaining of sicknesses that doctors can't discover. The whole process of digestion and assimilation can be delicate in Virgo rising people, so they must take care that this process is not hindered in any way. They should eat food that their body can digest and assimilate. They often worry not only about their health, but other matters. They can worry about things that others would not pay much attention to. They are critical of others and their own selves, and they usually keep their worry to themselves, so it's sometimes hard to understand them. They can be sarcastic as well. They are perfectionists, and it's important for them to keep everything organized. They can be taken really out of balance if someone messes up their work or living space. Every item has to have its own place, and they like it to be only there. So something like a misplaced item is a big deal to them, and that's why it's so hard to live with such people. Also, Virgos are naturally pessimistic, so it could be difficult to live with them for this reason too. It could be a constant wet blanket to your optimism, and Virgo should never live with people with fire or air signs rising unless their charts have a heavy earth emphasis, because separation will result or both parties will be very unhappy. They can get really upset and argue about misplaced items whilst not understanding that human connection is more important than whether an item is in its own place or not. So that's the reason Virgos often remain single or their other halves leave them. And that's the reason Virgos are better off marrying other Virgos. Kurt Cobain was actually Virgo rising too. You can see that from his small chin and thin lips. Though he was very much influenced by Uranus as it conjuncted his ascendant, and Pluto, the lord of the underworld, was bothering his psyche in the 12th house. A good thing about having a relationship with a Virgo rising person is that they are not so much focused on the other person's beauty than the content of their minds. Also, since Virgo rising people are not sensual, they tend to stay loyal in relationships. They seek control in all they do, and that's another reason it can be difficult to live with them. They usually achieve success through their own hard work rather than through the help of others. In relationships, they will try to influence another person, sometimes through much criticism, trying to make the other person adjust to their routines and the sense of order. So very pliable people will remain, but those who are more chaotic and self-willed will leave. Also, Virgo rising persons expect the other half to be as hardworking as them, so if the other half takes it easy, he or she can expect much criticism. Since these people are not sensual and their sign is the Virgin, they have no problem staying single until they find a suitable partner. They want to find a lifelong partner. Though they don't wear their emotions on the sleeve, they are very compassionate. Sometimes they give tough love, but only because they really care, and they believe this is the way to help. But deep inside, they are very caring and full of compassion. Because they don't show their deep emotions, sometimes they are misunderstood and believed to be cold and uncaring. Because they hide how they feel from the world, they outwardly indeed may appear uncaring, but deep inside, a lot is going on. Small eyes, thin lips, they look bigger due to the way that Sharon Stone outlines them, but actually her lips are small, thin. You can see it, that the shape ends here, not here. She also has pronounced nostrils and pointy chin, so this is a perfect mercurial type of Virgo rising. She's a perfect example of what a Virgo rising person looks like. Virgo rising people often focus on things to criticize but miss the bigger picture, the bigger things that really matter, such as maintaining a loving connection or appreciating another human being. They are just wired this way. We do need to have critics and organizers in this world, so Virgo rising people thrive in such careers, but they can really suffer for such traits in relationships. They also have a neat and tidy appearance and can get stressed out if they notice something disorderly in the way that they look. They are in no way, actually, they may get stressed just seeing other people looking disorderly. They are in no way flashy, but their charm is understated. They also do not want to draw attention to themselves, preferring to blend with their surroundings. However, not all Virgo rising people are neat and tidy, and I know this personally. I know people who are Virgo rising and they are not very tidy in appearance. Some tidy and organize their homes, whilst their own appearance is untidy, and some can be perfectionists at work, whilst at home nothing gets done. It takes time to get to know them and to gain their trust. In the public, they may be quite shy and they're against showing emotions or displaying affection in the public. Large forehead, small eyes, wide nostrils, and a rather strong chin makes me think that Uma Thurman is an earthy type of Virgo rising. Virgo rising people are also the kind of Virgo rising people are usually religious, but they don't spend their life researching spirituality, as they're usually focused on practical things, on practical careers. They are also the kind of people that do not have anything in their appearance standing out, so it's hard to fit them into any stereotypical appearance, and also for the fact that the way that they dress, it's never does not exaggerate any accessories or anything like this. They're not flashy in the way that they look, so they don't fit into any such kind of stereotypical appearance. Their sense of smell is well developed, so they make sure that they smell nice and expect others to wear good quality perfume, but not too much of it. Virgo rising signs' bathrooms will be full of all sorts of body care and medical items, so it could look like a pharmacy. They also invest a lot in health, so you may find in their kitchens many health foods and supplements. They also have home gyms if they can afford it, or they go to gyms or have their own exercise routines at home and may invest into items connected with body fitness. In general, they may have a well-defined routine, which they may religiously follow every day, as after all, Virgo is the ruler of the astrological house of health. These people can be excellent dietitians, critics, researchers, scientists, and doctors. They can be very particular about the food that they eat, and they may have peculiar eating habits based on what they read about food consumption. Emma Watson is another Virgo rising with small brown eyes, small nose, and a chin to the pointy side, making me think she's a mercurial type of Virgo rising. Since Virgos tend to worry a lot, they need to take regular times off work and just to distress. They should avoid taking stimulants if possible, because their mind is already likely to be overstimulated. They do best at work because they want to be perfect in what they do. They are likely to overwork and they take their duties seriously. They have great attention to detail but sometimes miss the bigger picture. They find it difficult to change their minds, but do if facts show that they are in the wrong, so it's not as stubborn as Tauruses can be, for example. Virgo rising people should engage in mindfulness practices like what Eckhart Tolle teaches, as that will help to alleviate their worrying nature. Also, they will feel balanced if their homes are safe and orderly. They should get away from the self-nagging habit by doing something that helps others. They're risking spending life seeking perfection and worrying about their own performance and that of others. So in order not to make this mistake, they should learn to enjoy the fruits of their work and their free time, and to appreciate people who love them and other blessings that they have in their lives. Because usually they don't stop to appreciate what they have, but they just look what needs to be changed, what needs to be perfected in themselves, in other people, in their homes, and so they miss this now, what's happening now, and what they're supposed to be grateful for now. So then the life is not happy if they just look for things to change and improve but don't appreciate what they have. These people have high body awareness, but they may allow their worrying minds to trick them into finding ailments that don't exist. Though they are good with details because they tend to miss the bigger picture, it's hard for them to see what really matters and to be generally aware of how they are perceived by others. They work well in teams, though co-workers will probably not know who they really are, as they don't open up easily. They are great in jobs requiring much discipline and responsibility, but for them not to get bored, the job should be intellectually stimulating. Kevin Costner is a confirmed pure Virgo rising type. Look at the large forehead, small eyes, straight nose, and thin lips. Another perfect representation of Virgo rising. They can have their own businesses, but they are likely to worry themselves to death. Because of their perfectionism, they will want to do everything themselves, thus overworking and ruining their health. So they are better as professionals in fields requiring attention to detail, responsibility, routine, and discipline. Virgo rising people, due to their saving habits and reluctance to lavishly spend, get richer with age and can end up very well-to-do. There is a risk, however, of being penny-wise and pound-foolish. Virgos are down to earth and usually project a facade of seriousness because that's how they really are. Often they make good friends if you really become their close acquaintance because they're loyal and compassionate, so they will help when you're in trouble. So if you manage to really get to know them, you will have a true friend. This makes them similar to Capricorns in this regard. But in turn, their friends are usually not helpful when they are in trouble, and that's the reason Virgo rising persons usually become successful through their own efforts rather than relying on someone else. So that's all that I have to share with you about Virgo rising persons, and if you have any other features to add to this list, then please do leave a comment below this video. Thank you for watching. Take care.